Welcome to the Hypnosis Chat. I'm your host, Lisa Finn. I've experienced firsthand the power of hypnosis, and I want to share this amazing tool with everyone who will listen. My goal, my mission is to show the world you can change your thoughts to change your life. And that's what I'm doing, one person at a time. So let's get to it. Hello, Lisa here, and welcome to the Hypnosis Chat, episode 6. In this episode, we'll be talking about how hypnosis can help with weight loss and get some insight from Farrah Minnich, certified nutritional therapy practitioner and owner of Food First Nutritional Therapy here in Wilton, Connecticut. Welcome, Farrah. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Sure. So I'm a certified nutritional therapy practitioner, and I work with clients one-on-one to help them regain optimal health through diet and lifestyle changes. I also work with clients to identify the underlying causes for persistent health issues that they may be facing. And I do include weight in that category. Weight is really a symptom of something else that's generally going on in the body. And I use food as medicine and always turn to food first when it comes to healing the body, which is why I named my practice Food First. I think probably two of the most important things I do for my clients are, one, helping them to simplify the conflicting information about what to actually even eat anymore. And then two, helping them to realize that what we have come to accept as normal in terms of health in our society is very different than what's optimal. So through a bio-individual nutrition approach, I help my clients heal their bodies, address root causes, and then function optimally again.
It sounds like our practices are very complementary.
Mm-hmm.
Because hypnosis is also an amazing tool for losing weight. And I see it in two parts. And the first part that's contributing to our weight is really the emotional side to it. The why are we eating the foods that we're eating?
Mm-hmm.
And the other part is the physical side. Like, what should we actually put in our bodies?
Right.
So when I see a client, we really work on that mental, that emotional side. So first I want to talk about that. And then Farrah, I want you to get into that second part, since that's your expertise of what actual food should we be putting into our bodies for optimal health and how it's processed in our bodies and what do we need to know.
Okay.
All right. So when clients come to see me to do hypnosis to lose weight, we're dealing with the emotional, the mental side, the why someone is actually overeating. And most people say that they know how to lose weight. They've done it before, but they either have trouble staying on their program, they're eating too much, they're eating too often, they're giving into cravings, and they really have no motivation. My clients know what to do, they just don't do it. Do you hear this in your practice too, Farrah?
I do. And I think a big piece of that puzzle is A, addressing the emotional underlying cause, but B, is that they often also go about it in the wrong way. And that's what I'll talk about a little bit too. And that's kind of where I come in.
Okay. So when I work with someone in hypnosis, we look for the root cause of why someone isn't doing what they want to do. So why have they stopped taking care of their bodies and their health? And it can be for many, many different reasons, but we figure it out in hypnosis and we correct it. So it's interesting because with my clients, sometimes we don't even talk about the food. We're usually just talking about the stress and anxiety that's leading to eating for non-hunger reasons. Yep. So the clients, the people that I see, they're using food as a distraction or entertainment or pleasure or to avoid their feelings or to numb their feelings. And all of these things that they're doing, they cannot be solved with food. The only thing that food can solve for is hunger. So their problems are still there. And now it's compounded because it's affecting their health. They're overweight. And then they beat themselves up.
Right. It becomes a vicious cycle.
It is totally a vicious cycle. Mm-hmm. And so when people come to me, they're usually ready for a new way. And so kind of like, why do people do this? Why don't you just do what you know is good for you to do? And So the answer is that we have programs in our subconscious mind, or we have limiting beliefs that we think are really facts about food, about eating, but these things can sabotage even our best efforts to try to lose weight or to live a healthy lifestyle. And willpower, which a lot of people try and rely on willpower, it really only lasts so long because the real power comes from your thoughts and your feelings. Because everything we do or things we don't do, it's because we feel like it. So if we don't change those underlying feelings, we usually go back to the same behaviors, and then that weight just comes back on. So in hypnosis, we figure out what's going on underneath the surface. And so hypnosis really just makes it easier for people to do what Farrah tells you to do and what people really want to do. And then they get long-term results. So I'll tell you, and then we'll kind of compare notes, but I'll tell you
Sure.
what I tell my clients, because I don't get into the food. I just have a few, I call them rules about food when I work with clients. So the first one is I tell them to only eat when they're actually hungry. Keeping in mind that food is only solving.
Easier said than done.
Yes. Well, that's where hypnosis comes in. But the rule is only eat when you're hungry. So if you're bored, you're cold, you have any other emotion, you're antsy, you're anything, you're angry, you try and solve for that emotion. And that's what I work on with clients in session. But don't eat to try and solve those problems because it's not going to solve them. And then the second thing I have people do is I have to take half the portion on their plate that they normally would eat. And this is very good for those members of the Clean Plate Club, because you can always go back for more if you're still hungry. But number 3, the key is stop eating when you're no longer hungry, not when you're too full. Not when you're full, because that's too much. If you're full, it's too much. So the fourth thing I tell my clients, and this is kind of where you come in, is I just tell them, eat real nutritious foods your grandparents would recognize and eat. And that might not mean things to some people. So Farrah, tell us, what do you recommend people eat? There's so much information out there. I often find myself even getting overwhelmed, trying to figure out what am I supposed to be eating?
Yeah. So that's probably the biggest question I get. So before I answer that though, I'm just going to piggyback on what you just said. You talked a little bit about willpower. People tend to come to me with very sort of self-deprecating talk about willpower. I have no willpower. I can't stick with my willpower. And, knowledge is always power. I think one of the most important things to know about willpower is that while there is obviously an emotional and psychological component to it, there's also a physiological component to willpower. So there are physiological functions in the body that can impact your willpower, mainly your gut bacteria and your blood sugar. So those are 2 things that will set off a chain reaction of events in your body that will physically cause you to crave food. And until you understand that, it's really difficult to break that pattern. So that's why, I think what we do complements each other so well, because you deal with the emotional, and then I teach people about the physical component of why they're struggling with willpower, so they don't feel so badly about themselves. And then the other thing, I use the term whack-a-mole in my practice. I always tell people that if you don't deal with the emotional side of your health, it's like a game of whack-a-mole. You may squash down the emotional, but it's going to pop up as a health issue or a weight issue or, a chronic disease long-term. So again, it's so important if you're really looking to reach optimal long-term health to deal with both, because it's a 2-pronged approach. In answer to your question about what people should eat. So first of all, I've kind of a 2-part answer to that. First, I definitely think you're on track with your advice to get back to our roots and eat like our grandparents did. And really what that boils down to is just a more nutrient dense, more home cooked, less processed food diet. That's a great starting point for people looking to just make simple, healthy changes for both themselves and their families. Real whole foods, foods that don't have an ingredient list is what I tell my clients, but are the ingredients themselves. foods that don't come in boxes, bags, or packages for the most part. And counting quality over calories is also really key. So it's that simple. If you're just kind of looking to implement some changes for your household, for your family, for yourself as a starting point. Going a step beyond that, I would say that when you're facing a specific health issue, and again, weight falls into that category. To me, weight is a health issue that has an underlying cause. It's really important to understand that nutrition is so bio-individual, meaning what's right for me is going to be completely different than what's right for you, and then likely all of our clients that we're working with. So that's where someone like me can sort of step in and help you not only sift through all the information that's out there, but then also teach you how to apply it and reach your health goals and maintain them. That's the key. It's one thing to reach them, but you have to maintain them. So I use something called the meal blueprint in my practice, and it's how I teach people what to eat, how to put meals together, and then we tweak it based on your personal needs. And really what it comes down to is finding the right ratio of fat, protein, and fiber. And fiber is really where your carbohydrates should be coming from whole food sources, generally non-grain sources of carbohydrate, from more starchy vegetables and fruits and things like that. This is also one reason why it's important to be a little wary of diets like keto or vegan or paleo, for example, because they're generic and they're prescriptive. And without the guidance of a nutritionist, it's really hard for the average person to know if the diet that they've chosen is a good fit for their goals, which is why they often either fail or become unsustainable. And that's when they come to you and say, I just can't stick with this. And it's usually just because they haven't chosen the right thing for themselves. They don't know how to implement it. They haven't been given the tools. So that's where it's really important to kind of arm yourself with all the information that you need to make it work long term.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. And kind of like, as you're talking, I'm picturing like the diet book and like the hypnosis tape recording. And it's kind of the same thing. You can go read a diet book, you can go listen to a hypnosis recording, but it's not individualized for your specific needs. So what you do, what I do, complements each other in the fact that we are dealing with the person sitting in front of us and their specific needs.
I mean, nobody has your same emotional background or your same medical history or your same nutritional needs. We're all different. So
yes,
that's why it's really important to work with if you have a specific goal you're trying to reach, like weight loss, for example, that's where somebody can really come in and help you kind of just narrow down and cut to the chase what's right for you.
So I have one question for you. People often will ask me, nutrition questions, and that's why I refer them to you and why I wanted to do this. But one of the things I've been hearing a lot about lately is this intermittent fasting. It's very popular right now. What are your thoughts on that? Benefits, drawbacks, or is that go into the individualized?
So again, intermittent fasting is definitely bio-individual, and it really depends on some physiological factors like blood sugar balance, hormone balance, and I'd say even the state of your digestive system. Those things need to be within a somewhat calm, healthy range before intermittent fasting can really be used effectively. Or it can actually do more harm than good by placing undue stress on an already burdened body. So if your body is struggling with hormone balance or your blood sugar is really dysregulated and you try intermittent fasting, your body's going to be under further stress. So first, when people come to me and they want to try intermittent fasting, we work for a couple of weeks to just calm everything down and just get it working a little bit better. That being said, I think intermittent fasting can be a very effective tool for not only weight management, but even more importantly for metabolic health. And metabolic health is, for anyone who doesn't know, is defined as having ideal or optimal levels of blood sugar, triglycerides, cholesterol, blood pressure, and waist circumference. with regard to weight, I think what's really important for people to understand is that the body essentially has like a totem pole of metabolic functions, and weight is way down at the bottom. Your body really doesn't care what size jeans you're wearing or how you look, in your bathing suit on vacation. Your body cares about your digestive system, your blood sugar, your hormone balance. So especially when there's other pressing issues, it's really tough to tackle weight loss before you tackle what's causing weight loss to be at the bottom of that totem pole. Again, that's kind of where a practitioner can come in and help you figure out what is that underlying cause? What is going on? Do you have dysregulated blood sugar? Are your hormones a mess? And fix that. And once you do, then the body can let go of weight. So again, for example, if you're walking around with dysregulated blood sugar and all your energy and effort is going towards weight loss, you're fighting a little bit of a losing battle physiologically until you fix the blood sugar issue, because it's so much higher up on the totem pole. The other thing I would say about intermittent fasting and metabolic health is that right now, 12% of Americans are currently considered metabolically healthy, which is a really low number. And not to bring COVID into the discussion, but poor metabolic health is really the biggest risk factor for a severe COVID reaction. So your best defense is really improving your metabolic health. First, through diet and lifestyle changes to get things under control. And then certainly by incorporating something like intermittent fasting, I think is a great thing. So again, I think intermittent fasting is a great tool for achieving better metabolic health, which in turn allows the body to let go of stubborn weight once and for all. There are several ways to do it. I find the overnight fast is the most attainable for people, which means that you generally end your last meal by about 7 p.m. You fast until about 10 a.m. at first, and then gradually build up to as late as noon. And it doesn't need to be done every day either. Intermittent fasting can be done a couple days a week and be really effective. And it's a little bit more sustainable that way. So yeah, I'm definitely a fan of intermittent fasting. Again, more so for the long-term health benefits than anything, but it just has to be done correctly.
Okay, thanks. Now, if someone wants to work with a nutritionist like you individually, how do they get in touch with you?
So they can email me, they can call me, they can text me, and we start out with a little consultation. We talk about what your health goals are. I use a couple of assessments in my practice to do just what I talked about, kind of find the underlying cause to whatever it is that you're coming to me for. And then we go from there to set some short-term and long-term goals and kind of slowly implement that bio-individual approach to help you meet them, but also maintain them.
Yeah, the maintenance seems to be such an important piece because people can lose the weight. They have trouble keeping it off.
They do. And I mean, I think what's kind of important there is that anyone can go to extreme measures to lose weight short term, but if it's not going to stick, what's the point? So I think that's where I do things a little bit differently in my practice is I think my approach tends to be a little bit more practical and realistic and something that you can really live with and stick with. And we talk a lot about enjoying food, having a healthy relationship with food, seeing food as your friend. Food is like something that we've come to sort of fight. And without food, we wouldn't be here. So embracing food as your friend and something that nourishes you and fuels you for your best life is really kind of the approach I take. And that's why people tend to have long-term success.
All right. Thank you, Farrah. Anything else you want to add before we wrap this up?
No, I mean, I think just, reiterating how important it is to deal with both the emotional and the physiological piece of weight and health overall is so key for people. And it really sets them up for success. So I love what you do and I respect what you do. And I've experienced the benefit of it myself. And I think it's just a really great tool, again, like you said, to kind of help people stay on the right path and stick with whatever it is they're working towards.
And I, as well, have done your programs and I have benefited from them immensely. And if you are looking for nutritional support, you can contact Farrah by email at foodfirstnutrition@yahoo.com, or you can call her or text her at 203-246-0807. And I'll put this in the show notes or the comments. And just in closing, I want to thank you so much, Farrah, for joining us.
Sure, anytime.
For giving us all this amazing information.
Sure.
And a really good starting point if people want to make those healthy lifestyle changes. And if people want to learn more about hypnosis, you can check out my other episodes of the Hypnosis Chat. And you can also find me on Instagram and Facebook at Lisa Finn Hypnosis. Any last thoughts?
No, just let's just keep helping people to feel better and achieve long-term health.
One person at a time, right? Here we go.
That's right.
All right. Thanks for joining us today. If you are ready to make a change and you want to use the tools of hypnosis, schedule a free consultation with me at lisafinnhypnosis.com, and we can chat about how hypnosis can help make your weight loss journey a little bit easier. We can also deal with your stress and anxiety and so much more. And remember, if you're looking for nutritional support, contact Farrah at foodfirstnutrition@yahoo.com or call or text her at 203-246-0807. That's what I have for you today. Thanks again, Farrah, for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Lisa.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.